Welcome to Eastern Front Theater's Early Stages Theater Festival. Eastern Front Theater operates in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. As a settler-run organization, we are active participants in the story of this land, past, present, and future. It is our responsibility to seek truth and to work towards peace and friendship as we share this land. We encourage our audiences to read the final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We are all treaty people, and this work is ongoing. Today we have The Station by Bear Theater Co. Playwright Bryony Merritt. Co-creator Abby Weisbrot. Fellow co-creator Ryan Gallant. Lighting and projection, Mackenzie Cornfield. Musician, Alexa Kirst. Alongside musician, Stephen Totowajik. Welcome. My name is Kat McCormick. I am the Artistic Director of Eastern Front Theater. I'm so thrilled to have you here today, online, live on the internet for Early Stages Theater Festival. This is our first ever Early Stages Festival. It's a chance for us to come together kind of in the dead of winter and have a little chat about new work, see what's coming up. I am a white person with shoulder length brown, messy-ish hair. I have very pasty and splotchy red freckly skin, but a very nice smile and giant round glasses. I have a very expressive face, or so I'm told. So that is a visual description, and for any of you who's like, yeah, duh, I know, I can see you, this is just part of what we're doing here now. We're trying really hard to work on accessibility for everything we do here at Eastern Front Theater. We do believe that theater is for everyone, and it's better when everyone is involved, and we really want people to come to know EFT is a place where you can come and you have been considered. So that's part of what we do, is a visual description. So whether you're listening or you're watching, everyone's getting the same experience or as close to. And part of that is done with Sarah Graham, who is our accessibility coordinator. Sarah is local and amazing. We love Sarah. I can't say enough good things about Sarah. If you work in live events, please consider calling Sarah. Sarah will help your events be that much more accessible to the greater population. And I'm going to read her email address now. It's sgrahamaccessibility@gmail.com. Great. So I am here coming to you live with Patricia Van Leeuwen, our production manager, in our tiny office at Alderney Landing Theater, where we love to live, in downtown Dartmouth, Boonamagwadi. Boonamagwadi is the Mi'kmaq name for Dartmouth, which I never knew. It means Tam Cod Place. I think that's amazing. And just to keep with the spirit of truth and reconciliation, I just do really encourage you personally to have a look at the website, read through some of the calls to action. I think just to learn a little bit more about this land that we all love to call home. I'm gonna drop that in the chat as well, so you can, not right now perhaps, but maybe after this, have a little read through. Today, we are going to talk to the team at Bear Theater Co. about their piece in progress, The Station. So The Station had a read last year at our also online Stages Theater Festival, and it was very well received. And today, I'm pleased to say that there will be some music. So if you have headphones, that will add to your experience of hearing it at its best. So without further ado, please welcome the team behind The Station. Yay! Thank you so much for being here in this very exciting Zoom room. Oh my gosh, wait. Okay, wait, no, carry on. I realize I have not done a visual description for our incredible interpreters who are here today. So I'm gonna just pop off with that. So we have Amanda, is a queer, white, early 30s woman with short dark hair, wearing a black shirt and burgundy sweater in front of a gray background. And soon you will also see Carolyn, who is a queer, white, 40-year-old woman with a long brown braid, glasses, and is wearing a black shirt in front of a gray background. Amazing. Thank you. I promised the Bear Theater Co. folks that I would give a very rambling pre-show speech, and I'm proud to have made good on that promise. So now, Bear, why don't you start us off and let us know who you are, what your pronouns are, and a little visual description.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kat. My name is Bryony. My pronouns are she, her. I am a young white woman with relatively long brown curly hair and bright blue eyes. I'm wearing a black sweater with a kind of floral collar, and behind me is a very boring beige wall.
Hey, my name's Abby. My pronouns are she and they. I am a white person with a very round face and short, curly, burgundy hair, though it kind of looks just brown in this terrible lighting. I have pink glasses that are reflecting my computer screen, but I can't see without them, so I apologize for the glare. A pink, blue, and white striped shirt, and I'm sitting in front of a very busy floral tapestry.
My name is Ryan. I use he, they pronouns. I am a white male with short to medium dark blonde hair. I'm wearing a blue and red and white plaid shirt. And my background is a white paneled door because I'm tucked away in the corner.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mackenzie, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a 22-year-old white woman with blonde-ish hair tied up in a messy bun and very short bangs. And I have very red cheeks. I'm wearing a gray turtleneck with a knit blue vest over top and some jewelry. And I'm sitting in front of a dimly lit bedroom with a large shelving unit behind me.
Hi, my name is Alexa. I am a white gender non-conforming individual. I have short brown, dark brown hair and rosy cheeks. I am wearing a set of light blue overalls and a mustard yellow t-shirt. And I have quite a few colorful tattoos that are visible on my upper and lower arms. And my pronouns are he, him, and they, them.
Hello, I'm Stephen Tautawajic, and I have long black wavy hair. I'm mixed Inuk and Scottish, although I'm not white passing. I'm wearing a deep red shirt, and our background, I'm sitting right next to Alexa, and our background is a huge white door.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. And thank you so much for being here on a little Sunday evening, sort of closing off the week. First question, who is Bear Theater Co.?
Who's going to answer?
Abby, I nominate you.
Bear Theater Co. is Bryony, Abby, Ryan, and Emma, who's not here with us today. We all met in Antigonish a few summers back, working on a show together, and we clicked and decided to keep creating together after that summer.
Amazing. And Ryan, is it true that you used to have a different name and then you got a cease and desist letter from Tea Time Creation Co.?
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that for a second. I was like, do I have to change my name?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
serving you papers right now.
Yeah. We originally had chosen a name based off of our director that summer gave us a miniature tea set as a gift at the end of the year. Laura Teasdale really loves little miniatures. And so we started with a name that was similar to Tea Time Creation, but we didn't flag it originally. So when it was pointed out to us, we went back to the drawing board with the name and eventually settled on Bear.
And dare I ask, but what is the meaning of bear?
We had played around with this concept of being bare and kind of being exposed. And we eventually also stumbled upon the realization that if we used the first letters of all of our names, it would also spell bear. So it was this really fun combination of both the kind of themes that we wanted to work with and our names.
And I think the like animal purse thing logo, I don't know, of Anna Ganesh is a bear.
Ah,
So it was just, there was too many, there were some dots that were connected. Yeah.
Kismet. Amazing. Thank you. I didn't mean to put you on spot, but I did.
Anytime.
So, Bryony, tell me,
Yes.
the station. Where did the idea for the station come from?
Well, originally, the four of us knew that we wanted to write something that had its roots in Atlantic Canadian settings or stories. And we knew that we wanted to include music. And we toyed around with a few different ideas. We weren't sure if we were going to go traditional musical route or whether we wanted to do something a bit more folksy, which is eventually where we landed, a non-traditional kind of play with music. But while doing research into different possible things we were inspired by, we landed on the transatlantic cable station in Hazel Hill, which has a huge history. And so that building kind of inspired what we've now created. But what we've written is very fictional. So the station follows a building similar to that one that we see exist in 4 different time periods. There's a now or kind of soon timeline, which is slightly futuristic and a little apocalyptic in nature, where something has happened and there's a group of survivors trying to reactivate the station's ability to send messages. Another timeline in 1995, when they are trying to save the station after it has been kind of decommissioned for a while and it's beginning to crumble and decay. 1962, which was when the final message was sent out from the station at Hazel Hill. And also a timeline in 1944, where it's in the middle of the war and it's kind of in full operation at that point. You see it at its peak of busyness and number of employees and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And now, so this is a real station at Hazel Hill. Does it exist today?
It doesn't, no. So part of the history of that particular station is that despite efforts from their rehabilitation society and longstanding general community efforts to save the building and turn it into a museum or a music festival or just kind of save the ruins of it, despite that, it was eventually knocked down in 2017, I believe. So it doesn't stand today.
Okay, but perhaps you can bring it back to life. The whole production of the station. So, Bryony, I know that you have sort of taken on the bulk of the playwriting itself, but I'm curious, Abby and Ryan, how does Bear work? Because I know that Bryony hasn't done everything, right? So how do you four work together as a new company?
Okay, I'll go. Okay.
Very politely.
This is part of our process always, is who gets to answer the questions. I
just want to pause for a second.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Okay, yes. Go ahead, Ryan. We're ready.
When Abby said that we kind of clicked when we first met, that kind of almost doesn't do it justice. We're kind of in this really interesting position where we're kind of able to just get on the same page very easily with each other. And so with this particular project, it is obviously, as Bryony's kind of pointed out, it's changed a lot from when we kind of started out. And every step along the way, we've kind of taken in kind of constructive feedback we've had from other kind of resources and workshops, and taken the advice that we're going, yes, that does make sense for us. But overall, the process is the four of us working together and understanding what our vision is, and always going at the end of the day that we get to make the decisions on what this project is. And so with Bryony as the playwright, along the way, there's been a lot of kind of back to the drawing boards with how to make different characters or different scenes just have a steadier pace and to keep going, and how to build things up. And what would normally always be done with dramaturgists and other professionals at the first level, we have a kind of a whole group of us already who are able to have those conversations and ask the questions that maybe one of us didn't think of. And so we're able to bring in multiple perspectives into the storytelling, which hopefully helps Bryony more than it hinders her. But every now and then we ask her questions she can't answer. So overall, it's a process of just a lot of collaboration and a lot of understanding where each of us want the project to go.
Cool. And so, Abby, can you tell us a little bit about what were some of the early versions, perhaps the early stages you might allow of the station?
Sure, if I remember. I mean, there was a lot of characters that aren't there anymore. I mean, the general plots, conflicts of each timeline has changed. I think we've always had 4 timelines, but there may have been more. Was there ever more or less? I don't think so. I think it was always 4.
We always had 4, but we were always told we should have 3. And so
yes,
by multiple people. So that's
why I'm thinking of it, because because that was a thing that was up in the air.
Yeah.
The multiverse.
Yep, the role of the music has changed a lot, like so much. I think the whole vision of what it is has really kind of stayed the same, and I think we've all sort of been on the same page with that. But the pieces, the individual relationships between characters, the dialogue, the relationships and roles of all the moving pieces have changed.
Mm-hmm. And so we did have a reading, and if you missed it, I'm sorry, because it was great, in June. And I'm wondering, Bryony, how much has the script changed since then? And does the script you have now, is it the script? Or is it ready to go? You know, is that how we've been able to bring on some musicians and designers?
Yeah. You never really know when you have the script. No, I think I'm in the middle of this draft that we're doing right now, hopefully getting ready for March. And it's pretty similar. Like, we've had much bigger revisions to do. I mean, one of the things that has changed a lot is just structurally when you are balancing a bunch of timelines. We had originally kind of a pyramid formation where we were like, we're going to just jump into each one once and then get to the top and come back down. And it seemed to make a lot of sense, and then it didn't really work at all. So luckily in this change, there haven't been a whole lot of structural revisions, which is really nice, because now it feels more like we're going back into a world that's been established, and really it's just about tweaking the content of like scenes to up the stakes. That's what we're really trying to do, I think, this time, is go back in and just make sure that the momentum is always present, especially at the top of the show when there's lots of introductions to new characters kind of repeating. We wanted to make sure that we're really jumping in at the middle of the action versus having kind of a slower introduction feel. So that's really what's been changing, or what is currently changing in this one. But it's been fun this time around. There have been other revisions which have been more of a drag, and this one is much more fun because it's just about getting the characters really feeling it.
Amazing. Okay, so So talk us through it. So you have a script now. It's ready to go. You've been doing a workshop this month, which has just finished. And so Mackenzie, you've been brought on for lighting and projection. So as a lighting and projection designer, how do you start? So you get a script in front of you, and what is the first thing you do with it?
Read it.
Right, of course.
Yes. Yeah, so I was luckily brought on about a week and a half ago. So a couple of days before our first workshop together last Saturday, I got the script. Very
Okay.
excited to read it. I read it, and I jumped right into research personally. So I jumped into sort of the historical research, looking at Hazel Hill and what that meant. And then I kind of I highlighted the script and pulled out all these pieces where I thought in the script it already kind of hints at a certain lighting look or something that could be projected. And I took that with me to the meeting with the team on that Saturday. And that's where we got to discuss what was important to them, important for us to highlight in projections and lighting, certain feelings they wanted to get across during scenes. And then I had a whole week to go away with all those notes and start researching more, creating kind of vision boards and inspiration, and start to experiment building projections and lighting looks. So that's kind of an overall my process. And if we get a chance today, I can share some of the things I've been working on for the last week as well.
Yeah, well, I would love that. But I mean, maybe now is the time even.
Perhaps, yeah, if everyone's up for that, I can share my screen.
Yes.
Great. Let's see. I guess I can just share my whole desktop. That's probably the easiest way to go about this. And you guys should be out of the way. So one of the first things I personally create is an asset tracker. This just kind of gets all my thoughts organized. So I came away from that meeting with all these different assets that we might want to include in the show or full production, and wrote them down, wrote descriptions. And this is a document that'll remain active with the team for the whole process. So I can update it with status and notes. They can write inspiration notes in it. Very helpful.
Amazing. And so
Yeah.
for those of us who do not do lighting and projection and do believe it is some sort of witchcraft and or wizardry, what is an asset?
Oh, it's just a term I use to describe any like piece of content that's going to be projected into the space. So one asset might be, the sunset animation during a scene. And it's a nice way to kind of give it a name. Like I'm working on an asset.
Okay, perfect. So tell us a bit about, you've got notes and conventions up.
Yeah.
And I regret to say it is much too small font for me to read.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's by design. So we're not all out stealing your ideas. But
Yeah,
maybe you can speak to some of it.
Absolutely. It's I just kind of pulled these up because these were part of my process is also just taking all the notes from the meeting and building up conventions that we work within. So when is a certain lighting look? When does it come back repetitively? When do certain style projections happen, or when are there no projections and only lighting? And we chatted about that in the meeting and gained some clarity about some of those rules and conventions that we can move forward with. So it's something that is pretty early on in my stages, this outlining notes. I also just took notes about, tech things. Obviously, it's a little weird working without a set or a space and all in our heads, but it's also kind of exciting because there's less constraints, and it allows me to kind of visualize what are the key, technical assets that we can really use to our advantage. Things like, if that light, the LED light is placed, behind the window pointing through, that would be awesome. No matter where we are or what the set looks like, that would be something really versatile and cool. So that's something that I do take note of.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I create research or inspiration collages like this one. On the left is a bunch of research references, so textures and actual documents, actual photos of the building. And then on
I think you
the
could
right,
zoom in a little bit on some of those.
absolutely, yeah. So on the left here is kind of my research section. Is that kind of a good size there?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. This one's side's a little more boring, but it's excellent material for me to go back to. So if I have, if I'm building a texture for the building, I can go back to these preliminary photos like this one and look at the brick and the paint and the plaster and try to mimic that in the actual projections or the feeling and the lighting. Yeah, so these are just some research images. On the other side, it's completely different. I've got a lot of images that spark a feeling or a thematic idea that I want to try to emulate in either the lighting design or the projection design. So some of these are kind of just feelings, like this one here or this one here are feelings that I associate with the dream scene. And other ones are more practical looks. So I have photos of light coming through the window or light coming straight down onto the stage. And talking with the team, I can bring those to the team and discuss. This would be great if we could get the light through the window, like I was mentioning, to look like this, to have this quality, or to create the space of the station. We're discussing having kind of mock pendant lights. So if we go back over to the research section, I have these 1940s pendant lights, and it would be really awesome if we could emulate the light coming kind of dead hung straight down from those in the space with more modern lighting instruments or practical lights.
Awesome.
Yeah, so lots of random pictures in here. Like I said, a mix of feelings and actual looks that I'd like to recreate.
Mm-hmm. And so time is so important to this multiverse production of the station. And I'm curious, how do you incorporate that? Knowing that it is so important, how do you put your effort into that?
Absolutely. It's challenging, but it's exciting to work in sort of one space for the whole play, but different times. So we discussed early on, like that's going to be really important to distinguish between these time periods, but know that we're in the same space, that it's the same building, the same stories. And so one way we've chatted about doing that is through these clocks, which are highlighted in the script. These clocks become active and actually animate the clock moving whenever that time period is active. So that'll be a projection job. And I have a couple reference images for the clocks in that style. And then also showing the building and textures of the building deteriorate over time. So we've discussed having suggestive textures over the set, whatever that may look like, and then have those change over time. So it's the same textures, but they change. And part of kind of my preliminary work was looking at that. So I've got different textures that we might want to use based off of the original reference photos, and then kind of breaking them up into the different time periods and analyzing how they might deteriorate over time, so we can show that time has passed and the building's been in disrepair for a while.
Amazing. And you would achieve that with projection over top of the set?
Exactly, yeah. So the kind of the set that we've been discussing, I'm not sure if it's open to talk about at this point. Yeah, okay, I got a thumbs up. But we've been talking about having a set that's made up of white sheets and silks. So excellent projection surfaces. And my ideas, my visuals are based off of kind of these textures, creating a non-naturalistic, but a kind of surrealist representation of the building over those sheets. And there in those textures, we'll see them deteriorate. Yeah. And I guess also in the lighting world, different colors for different time periods stay consistent, which helps the audience understand which time period we're in.
Incredible. You know, you never sit and watch a play and think of all of this work that goes into coming up with all of these ideas. And, you know, probably 80% of these will never even exist past, you know, this document you've created. And that's
Exactly.
that's a sad part of creation, is having to let some of it go behind.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. And do you have any more to show us of this?
My team wanted me to show the sketches. I will reluctantly show my very messy sketches, just because they are part of the process. And these are really have been excellent to kind of show the Bear team, like, you know, like this window here, we're talking about, like, if the window is just a frame, like, and with a projection surface, how do we represent that it's barred up at times? And so one of my concepts was to have these black masks, which is mask is sort of something that hides part of an image, that block the projections, to give it this look of like there's just strips of light through the wood that's barring up the window. So it kind of sketches are helpful for that. And then the last thing, I guess, is just in Photoshop. As those who have read the script know, the mural is quite an important aspect to both the 1995 timeline and the soon timeline. And so I got in right away and started to play around with what that might look like, and had sort of different versions of the mural sketched out. So we have, like, this was an earlier version, and then I took this to the second workshop, and we're like, oh, well, what does it mean if the boat is actually a fishing vessel instead of an industrial vessel or a warship? And was able to kind of take an image and create this. And then was also working on breaking down that image into different time periods. So if you look at it like a work in progress, so only some of it is painted on the wall in an earlier scene, or when it's completely destroyed and it's been many, many years after its completion, and you can kind of hardly make it out on the wall. So that's kind of a little experiment I have been playing with early on, to play with both the asset of the mural, what it might look like, but also how do we show it over different timelines.
Yeah. And once again, so, you know, if you are using what you're thinking of, which would be, you know, sheets and silks, this entire image might be fully projected into the space.
That's exactly right.
Brick wall included.
Yes. Yeah.
It's magic.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Incredible. Do you have anything else to show us here visually?
I don't think so. I just have the clock. I was working on sort of a clock draft, trying to create a clock that spans all the time zones without looking like it comes from a certain time period. Little things like whether or not it's numbers or it's Roman numerals. They're like those little discussions that we're having at this point to clear up early. So yeah. I don't know. That's just
when you read the script, it feels very much like the clock, like feels like the rock star part of this.
Totally, absolutely is. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Yeah, thank you.
And so now we're going to get to Alexa and Stephen here in a second. But before then, I'm just curious. So for the Bear folks, now you've got designers working on your piece. Does that make you go back to your script and go, oh my God, well, now I got to change this?
It did make me realize that after working on this on and off for like going on 3 years now, all the original research that was very clear in my head 2 years ago is less clear now. So part of these discussions with Mackenzie did help me realize I should go back, refresh a lot of the technical stuff that we did at the start and the historical research side of things, so that we can make sure that's a really solid kind of underpinning as the design gets more in depth and as we kind of are making revisions to the story of it. That was one of the big things for me. But it was very exciting just after having so much focus just on the script, to be able to see these other parts of it come to life in such a wonderful way. Yeah, it was really kind of thrilling from my standpoint, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so much of collaborating is just asking clarifying questions of each other. So it's awesome to bring someone new into the room, someone fresh, to remind you, oh, right, yeah, what did I think that was?
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, you can't have musicians in a room and not hear from them. So Alexa and Stephen, you were also brought on very recently, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I think earlier this month, we're both contacted and chatted a little bit about dates, and then we locked down last Saturday as our sort of first meeting / introduction to the Bear team. And then this Friday, this Saturday, and then today for the presentation, with the Friday and Saturday being 2 other little workshops / like check-in days. And then a bit of a week to do some musical investigation and improvisation and discovery and composition.
Amazing. And so would you two have also started out, they come to you and they say, look, we've got this script. Do you want to be involved? You say yes, and then you read it?
Yeah.
And what are your instincts as you read it? What do you think? As a musician, what are those first steps like?
So for myself, I actually did have the pleasure of seeing the reading of the station last year at Stages. So I kind of had a sort of a pre-existing connection and relationship of thought to it. So that didn't necessarily influence my musical ideas, but I certainly had a bit of a visual as I reread the script and then as I was doing a bit of music for it. What about you, Stephen?
For me, the biggest help, or the jumping off point, was we got a lot of samples of music that were already ideas that could have just been fleshed out, or just given an idea of what everyone was looking for. So that helped a bunch, and that was a really good jumping off point. And just sitting and talking with you guys, and with just me and Alexa talking about ideas and trying to tie everything together. Definitely those first samples were the biggest help.
Okay, and those would have come from Emma?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. The bear who is not here with us at the moment. So you take those samples and you think, oh my gosh, I have an idea, or is it a little bit more stressful than that?
I found it was pretty organic.
Yeah.
There was just so many ideas bouncing around.
Mhm.
We just kind of had to focus and
Yeah.
decide which rabbit hole to go down, really.
Yeah, you go, oh, I've got this cool thing I'm thinking of, and I go, oh, I got this cool thing I'm thinking of, and then we go, okay, well, let's pick one of the cool things and we'll spend time on that. For example, one of the things we were bandying back and forth with was a lot of like talk of rhythms and doing like specific rhythms as opposed to like more specific melodies, but leaning into a lot of like rhythmic identities for certain characters or for certain scenes or for certain just parts of the play or certain objects even. And we kind of locked in on a certain rhythm and then went from there. We were like, what if we did like this rhythm, or what if we did some polyrhythms? We're like, okay, no, let's bring it back in a little bit, and we later can do more interesting rhythm stuff. But right now we'll stick to like a cool sounding rhythm, and we'll go with that.
Awesome. That is another pitfall of collaborating, is being too excited. It's like, that's how you know you're working on something very worthwhile, is when you just have too many ideas.
Yeah, I mean, and I found this week, I don't know, I think you too, like we've been walking around and we'll meet up to meet and to meet up to meet. We'll meet up to play, and I'll just be humming different things that we've been working on all week, and they'll just be in my head all the time. And that's been really exciting.
They don't get boring, so I guess that's a really good thing. Like, yeah.
A good sign. So do you have something you would like to share with us today?
We do. We have a couple things, and something that can be played with a reading, which we'll probably do a little bit later. And we'll probably, I guess the way we can do it is we'll start right off with something, and then we will come back into speaking, and we'll talk a little bit about that. and then we'll talk about something and then play it. So I'm just gonna mute ourselves now so that our music comes in directly to the Zoom, and we'll just do a little like note. And if anybody wants to give us a thumbs up that the music's coming through well, just, give that to us.
We will do that. And if you are listening at home, once again, if you have headphones, that will add to your experience. Oh my goodness. That's like, there's that moment when you sit in a dark theater and the show starts. And if that was what I heard in person, like I'm already crying a little bit. Oh gosh, I want to be in a theater so bad, but that sounds so exciting. So tell me, what is that? Is that the transition between times? Is that sort of the station itself? What is the artistry behind that? How does that attach to this story?
So I think it's a little bit of all of those things, while also being specifically in what we've talked about and in what we were working on when we composed it. It's the storm, and sort of specifically it's meant to be in the sort of transitional moment in the second scene where they've received the letter. If you've seen the show, there's a letter and there's a bit of a reading about a boat that is sunk, and there's a lot of sort of confusion and tension about whether or not there are people on that ship that are in danger. And sort of this is sort of a moment where that tension is building, and then you go into this moment of uncertainty, and almost like the winds of the storm are blowing out, and you have this uncertainty of, well, who is everyone okay? Like, who are they? But yeah, as it is the storm, so it can come in on top, and there is a lot of like storm and turmoil sort of around the station as itself being a transitional entity, being both like alive when it's being run and dysfunctional and sort of dead when it's not being run, and sort of this storm element. Yeah, I don't know. Anything you have to add?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of transitions that we have to deal with the music.
Mhm.
I'm really excited about the next one that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But for this one, it's like the building of the storm, and we've got this kind of chromatic bass line walking up, and that builds a lot of tension. And especially the 7/4 time signature, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's very off kilter, and it makes your heart kind of pump a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gives you an impending doom thing, which is perfect for a storm.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from like a minor key into a major right at the end. We've got like a 6/8.
Yeah.
And then that unexpected major just kind of, I don't know, it's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Going into the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely lets you know there's a change,
Yeah, we're still in that tension is still there, but we're moving into something else, and it's not resolved, but it is released for now. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, when I think about the actors who will be, backstage waiting to make an entrance, and that starts playing, that's going to be sense memory for the rest of their lives. If they hear that music, they will be so ready to go. Oh, and to think of it, with what Mackenzie's been working on, I'll save this question for later, but I'm all jacked up. You three have gotten me all riled up about theater. My God, COVID, get out of here. So, okay, you have something else you are more excited to share with us, Stephen. Is that true?
I like this one a lot. The way I met Alexa and Ryan was we all worked at Alexander Keith's Nova Scotia Brewery.
Yes, rite of passage.
And a lot of the times we would just be playing music. It was really great. It was awesome. This one, we actually used to play this at Keith's a lot just because we would have to like vamp or just play music for backgrounds and for just like gearing up a Kaylee. So we're starting off with like a very like jovial 6/8, makes you want to jig and reel. Alexa's fiddle just like brightens it right up. And then the scene moves on to a slower, more intimate dance scene. And we take the same chords and we just kind of slow them down a bit. And after that, we go into another little bit more of an intense thing. This one's really cool because what we're doing is we're taking the notes from the storm, the rising and those exact same notes, and we're putting them with the rhythm of the watches theme,
the wristwatch. Yeah,
the wristwatch, where it's like it's a really interesting rhythm, which I think might be Morse code for time, but we'll have to ask. We might have to ask the composer because that's one that we took from the examples that we got, and then later on we were talking about Morse code, trying to squeeze some Morse code in there, and time just happened to be that rhythm. So I'm like, it's too perfect to be a coincidence. So
whoa,
yeah. But we take that rhythm and we play it to the notes of the rising the theme of the storm. And it's it gets really pumped. I love it. It's great.
It's really good. Yeah.
God, and Morse code. I mean, talking about Easter eggs. You watch a show and you're just like tapping your foot, like that's a good tune. You don't
love some good tunes.
Jason McIsaac once told me that is the most insulting thing you can say to a composer or a musician was good tune. So I think of, my gosh, all of this that's going into what you're creating. And of course, once again, these are the early stages that you don't get to see as an audience member. It's really thrilling that you're also willing to talk about this today, your process. Oh, yeah. So do you have something else? I feel greedy, but do you have more to share?
Yeah, we'll play you sort of that Kaylee band bit into the Stormwatch cross, and then we have another thing to play together after that, and then there's something that can be played with a bit of a reading. So we have probably like 3 more things to share musically and to talk about as well. So I will swap over the audio and we'll give you all a taste. Yeah.
gosh, even through Zoom, it sounds so good.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's as we were saying, that's kind of, it starts off, there's a Kaylee happening, and then there's a bit of a slowdown as a more sort of, soft and intimate moment kind of happens, and then we begin to transition into this building and this winding almost of a clock, almost of energy, and things are beginning to get tenser and tighter, and then there's just a big, like, loud release into the storm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel it. You can, I don't know where we're going, but I know I was just taken somewhere from somewhere else. Incredible. So there, look at all these riches before you. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you would have music and design like this for this show, this is your first show, correct? Oh no, you just had one at the Fringe. I missed it. So sorry.
This one is and we worked together in Antigonish, but we did do some like creation there. But this is our first full length ish, like written beginning to end sort of show.
It's wild. I mean, obviously I'm a big fan anyway. This will be the second time this is coming around with EFT. Bear is also part of our emerging playwrights unit. But just the potential of this piece, I'm just truly dying to see it in full on stage with all of these things realized. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, sorry, not to cut you off there, Alexa and Stephen. Were there more thoughts on that piece?
I think we at the top said all the things about that piece. There is one more piece we can play together if you would all like.
Yes, obviously.
Okay.
Also, Stuart Legier has requested We Rise Again by the Rankin Family, but I think we'll have to save that for another day. Thank you, Stuart.
The next early stages, if you get your requests in early, we can stage them. But yeah, it's a good tune though. I don't actually think we ever jammed on that at Keith though, but it's a good time.
What?
No.
Sacrilegious.
It's a good tune. But yeah, the last thing we have to play together is a really, and I don't think state this enough, just a really cool piece. And I'd love it if you would take the lead on discussing it a little bit, because it sort of came a lot from you, and the riff is something that you've were experimenting with. And
I've had this this kind of riff I've had this piece for since university, really. I've changed it a lot so that it would fit, but it does go really well, mostly because it's in 7, and a lot of the music that we played so far is in 7, which I'm a sucker for odd time signatures. I love them. This one it's like Jamie's theme, and it's in harmonic minor, which is like a very it can be very melancholic. There's a lot of tension in there. And we start off with like a main theme, which is a lot lower. And then we're gonna take that up for a scene where there's like moonlight shining in. And
oh no, I must stop you. Something strange is happening where you're getting quieter by the second.
oh, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
all right. So
Oh no.
those exact same chords.
No, you're just a little bit quiet.
Is it maybe on the music's one?
Is it the other Zoom? Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, because we have but actually, Kat, I can see what you're saying. I can see in my settings the mic volume going down slowly,
Yeah.
and now
There's
it's coming
ghost
back
in
up.
the machine. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Weird. The music was too good, obviously.
Not allowed to talk about it anymore. Blocked. Is that okay?
It sounds good. I wonder if it's the level of the guitar or something, but give it a shot. I'll let you know if it goes down again.
Okay.
All right. We'll just play it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect.
Was that all right?
Yes.
Okay. So, oh. Yeah.
Great.
But I was like, oh yeah, I think we talked about it and then we played it and that's it, right? That's everything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think we're also going to be, so I dare say, another sneak peek. This is just a true, I don't know, full of riches little presentation you have here. And will that include some of the text as well?
Yeah, I think this last thing we were going to do is that there's a small little section that the first thing we've tried to pair directly music to text. So we were going to give that a whirl. Hopefully everything's balanced okay.
Ooh, you heard it here first at EFT's Early Stages Theater Festival.
Yeah, as Bryony was saying, this will be a little bit of like text and music together. And I will be playing the cello alongside Abby and Ryan reading a bit from a scene. And this piece specifically is kind of, I call it in my head kind of Sam's dream or Sam's theme. And there's a moment in a play where a character, it's called Sam, is talking about and describing this dream that they've had. And as I was reading that, I sort of put in mind of the cello as an instrument, and then just some sort of, not some sort of, but sort of instrumental backing to that moment. I'm just sneaking closer so I can wear my headphones so I can hear the reading at the same time.
Good. And Zoom is notoriously selective when people speak and play at once. So if you're listening at home, you just use your imagination to fill in a full room.
Yeah, we did troubleshoot it, but it's bound to go wrong now that we're live on Zoom. So
Yes. Tara Thorne says she can't believe we're doing an online festival while Mercury is in retrograde.
I'm just gonna turn my volume down and my mic off, and then I'll give a thumbs up. And so whenever from there you're ready to go, I'm ready.
Sam counts the seconds on her watch, focusing on each breath, in and out, in and out. Alex busies herself with the map. An understanding settles between them.
Alex,
Yeah,
can I tell you something?
yeah.
I keep having this dream. There's a woman, not like, not like that. She's an old woman. Up north, somewhere, I guess. Somewhere cold, because there's all this snow falling. Drifts as high as your waist. And the woman, she hasn't got any shoes on, but she just sets off into the snow. Right into the heart of the storm. That's all the dream is, really. Just this woman walking away across a field of snow, barefoot. I try to catch her sometimes, to tell her she doesn't have any shoes, but the snow is falling so fast, her footprints have already filled themselves in, and I can't, she's just, the last I see of her, she looks back over her shoulder and smiles, and I get this sense of calm, like we both know she's gonna be okay. Even with no shoes, she's gonna be okay.
What are you saying, Sam?
I don't, nothing, I guess. Can't help dreams, can I?
Well, try. see.
Yes, amazing. Ah, what a thrill. This is just like, what an exciting thing to have so many young collaborators all together making something actually amazing in our little stretch of the world. I'm so excited that you've all agreed to be here to share it with us today. It's like genuinely inspiring to see your excitement and to hear this talent and see the talent. Oh, dying to see this all put together.
I will say it's really nice to see our fellow creators here who we've just brought on the team speak so passionately about it, you know, like something that's just been really the four of us, to finally have people and in hearing everyone speak and talk about things that I'm like, yeah, you get it. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a magical thing to have in collaborators and isn't always the case. So keep them close.
And Kat, we would be remiss in not thanking you for all your support during this, because from the very earliest stages, it's been possible because of you and because of Park, Playwrights Atlantic Resource Center,
Yes.
and Pamela Halstead especially. So moving forward with this workshop and being able to bring other people in, it has really, I think, rejuvenated the project as well after, you know, having to shift so many times due to the pandemic and everything. So it's amazing that we've had this chance to keep building this month in particular. So yeah, thank you very much for reaching out with that.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. And yeah, I mean, Pam Halstead is a powerhouse. If you have a play or an idea for a play, you know, just email Pam Halstead at Park. It is her dream, her goal, her everything to put plays up and into the ether. She'll give you the support you need to really start with the early stages. And starting is always the hardest part. So, you know, it's awesome that we have someone like Pam around to get things up on their feet. Gosh, amazing. Friends, we've been talking for so long, but I'm curious, is there anything that I missed, anything that you really want to talk about in terms of the process and what you've been creating and what you're hoping to do next?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything that we've worked on this workshop in terms of, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, if you have anything to add, Mackenzie, Alexa, or Stephen. But in terms of next stages for us, I know that we're hoping to have one more workshop where we can focus on the changes in the script and maybe bring actors in, maybe into a room, because this hasn't been read live in a room yet. And then after that, looking forward to a first kind of in-person reading or small production, something like that. So there are kind of next goals.
Awesome. Yes, at our next Stages Festival next month. Just kidding. We already have too many Stages Festivals. Alexa, did I see you? Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I think pretty much everything that's been said. Yeah, just being excited to see where things go, having the opportunity to create more music, to expand on the music that we've already done. And as Bryony was saying, you know, being in the same room as other people and being able to see your collaborations become real and become like creatively intertwined is always really exciting. And being able to develop that more is just, I think, yeah, a great thing. Anything for you?
I'm really excited because we've got so many parts that change throughout specific moments, and we need to like rely on cues. So I'm really excited to like see the performance of the actors go along with the music, and then having to like, okay, we're gonna have to change chord here, and now we're the storm.
Yeah,
And I'm really excited for that part. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, because we've musically accompanied a lot of other kinds of musicians and singers and other instrumentalists, but the idea of musical accompaniment as sound design, as live theater is, I think, really something that I've always, well, not always, but I have recently kind of really been getting into and exploring it more. And as Stephen was saying, like, there's a moment on stage where a character says something, and that's where you play the music, and that's where the chord changes, and you're watching that, and you're tuned in, and you're having a conversation in a way that is, I think, really amazing and just really expressive.
Yes, I'm gonna use that as like an ad for theater in general going forward. It's like there are all of these different ways that you can take in art and storytelling, but theater is really bringing all of those together in person with a bunch of people that your heart rates are all going to sync up. You're having that experience together. I think you've just described it exactly perfectly. That is why we go to the theater. Ah, wistful sigh. Yeah, we'll get back. We thought we were coming back. We were not, but I have faith. We will be back again. But until then, thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your process. It can be a very personal thing. So it's even brave of you to come out and to talk through something that isn't finished yet. I'm just really so thankful. Thank you once again to Sarah Graham and our interpreters today for nailing it. So happy to be working towards accessibility in all things. Eastern Front Theater, it's just two people, really. It's just me and Elsa Peel. So call us up if you have ideas. If you're like, actually, this isn't accessible, call me and we'll try to fix it. We're very open to suggestions. We are your theater company. So call us up. Otherwise, donate, give us money. We would love it if you would, but otherwise we're so happy to have this free festival online for you. Maybe I'll try to find a link and put it in the chat. Which is full of lots of accolades for you all, perhaps to look over later. And once again, go ahead and read those reports from the National Report on Truth and Reconciliation. Take control of your own narrative. Friends, thank you once again. Hopefully we will be seeing this on stage very soon.
Thank you, Kat.
Yay! Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so
Kat.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, we're off.